7:32 right now, and all eyes on City Hall to see who will be appointed to head the Civilian Complaint Review Board, the agency which handles complaints against the NYPD. So interim chair Arva Rice resigned last Monday after a tumultuous relationship with the mayor's office and the NYPD. Mayor Adams did ask her to step down in April, so her last day is August 15th.
The resignation is raising eyebrows because the number of misconduct complaints filed with the CCRB against the NYPD jumped more than 50% last year. Joining us this morning to discuss the future of the CCRB is the former chair, Reverend Fred Davie. Good morning to you, Reverend. Thanks for taking the time to be with us this morning.
Good morning. I'm glad to be with you. Thanks for your interest in the subject.
So Arva Rice's resignation wasn't a big surprise to a lot of folks. The mayor asked her to step down in April amid tension over the handling of the Kawasaki Trawick case. So do you think that was the deciding factor in her departure?
Look, it's the job of every chair of a city agency, particularly this one, to advocate strongly for the agency in terms of resources that it needs, in terms of its relationship with City Hall, City Council, and especially the NYPD. It's also the job of any good chair to ensure that the NYPD is not slow-walking cases such as it happened in the Kawasaki Trawick case, so that the cases aren't thrown out because of statute of limitations. That's what Arva Rice did. That's the job any chair is supposed to do. That's the job that I did. So I think it's incumbent upon City Hall, on the City Council, and the NYPD to recognize the role of the chair and to work with the chair and the rest of the commission in order to ensure that there's effective civilian oversight of the NYPD, which is the mandate and the mission of the CCRB.
Yeah, I want to talk about another case that we're paying close attention to. The family of Rosario also met with the CCRB over the fatal shooting of their son inside their apartment back in March, right? So just for those who don't know, they're accusing the NYPD of using similar tactics to delay the investigation like they did in the Trawick case that you just referred to. So was it hard to get information from the NYPD when you served as chair, right? And what do you think has changed since then? Because it seems like some of the issues you're talking about continued from your tenure into Arva Rice's tenure.
Yeah, so we set up a relationship with the NYPD during my tenure over two commissioners, Commissioner O'Neill and Commissioner Shea, in order to try to remove some of these barriers to the CCRB being allowed to get information, from body-worn camera footage to interviewing officers to getting other evidence that relates to cases. And it seems as if there has been a bit of backpedaling, if not backsliding, when it comes to both providing the information, to advancing cases expeditiously and carefully, and to actually adjudicating cases in a transparent way that needs to happen when you're doing this. So Commissioner can retain cases and decide them outside the public's eye. That kind of lack of transparency in the process, that kind of slow walking the getting of evidence, and any other barriers that are put in place that prohibit the CCRB from doing its job, it only lessens the public's confidence in the NYPD. It doesn't serve the officers well who serve on the part of the city, and it doesn't help good community police relations. So we need more transparency. We need CCRB continues to need more immediate access to evidence and just an overall better relationship with the NYPD, and the City Council and City Hall need to see to it that happens.
Yeah, I mean, the CCRB really needs leadership right now. They have a lot on their plate right now. They're handling another high-profile case involving disciplinary charges against the highest-ranking officer in the NYPD, Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry. So the chief is accused of ordering officers to avoid the arrest of a retired officer who was waving his gun at some kids back in 2021, if you may remember. A judge recommended that the disciplinary charges against him be dropped because the CCRB doesn't have jurisdiction over this case. So do you agree with the judge's recommendation?
No, I don't agree with it.
Do you think this is then is another reason why they wanted Arva Rice out?
I would not speculate on why Ava Rice decided that it was her time to go. She made her statement, and that statement stands for itself. But I would say that cases like the judge saying that CCRB did not have jurisdiction in that case, I think the judge is wrong there. And if the commissioner wanted to restore confidence in the disciplinary process of the NYPD, the commissioner has a right to overrule that judge, and I think he should.
Here's the thing, I guess the question for you is, there always is this back and forth between the CCRB, its leader, the NYPD, and the mayor's office, right? It seems to be this circle, and there's this reputation and relationship that's been tried to be repaired over the years, but isn't quite there. So does the CCRB actually have authority and power? And if you think that they do, is that why there is such this contentious relationship with the leaders of the NYPD and the mayor?
So the CCRB has considerable authority and jurisdiction that was expanded during my tenure over additional areas. But there are a couple of things that the CCRB could use that would help eliminate some of this. First of all, CCRB could use the final authority on all the cases it adjudicates. If it got final authority on just the cases it adjudicates, that would eliminate a lot of this back and forth between the NYPD and CCRB and City Hall and others. CCRB also needs additional authority to get the evidence it needs. So it needs an unsealing of what's called, it needs an exemption from what's called the sealing statute. So there's evidence that's sealed that the CCRB should have access to, and the state legislature should allow an exemption for the CCRB in that case. So those two things alone, plus the expanded jurisdiction, would help the CCRB continue to do its job more effectively. And yes, I think because of the strength of the organization, you are seeing a lot of attempts to put parameters around that. But again, it doesn't serve the city. It doesn't serve the people of the city. It doesn't do much to improve police-community relations. So I would encourage everyone to work at being more cooperative, to increase transparency, to stop the stonewalling, and really to work on behalf of the people of the city and the members of the NYPD to ensure that there's effective civilian oversight of the NYPD, which I think only helps the NYPD do its job better.
All right, Reverend Fred Davie, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it.